Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Shoes for Biscuit podcast. I'm Alex Whiteley, and this is the last episode of the Open Studio sessions for this month. I'm exhausted, but I've had a great time. And my co-host joining me today again is Jules. Thank you so much for joining me, Jules.
Pleasure. That's number 7, isn't it? This one?
7, yeah, 7.
Wow.
These are a challenge, aren't they? They are a challenge, but I feel like they get some fascinating results from people, and I just I really do enjoy it. Joining us for our final show is Connor Bishop from Endorph Fitness. Thank you so much for joining us, Connor.
Thank you, Alex, and thank you, Jules.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
Yeah. So, what is it you do, Connor?
So yeah, good question. So I'm a personal trainer by trade, but I obviously pre-COVID, there's a private facility that I normally run sessions out of in Holscott. But the bulk of really what I do is a group training program. We're lucky Jules has just started with the 6 weeks. So that's super exciting. So really I run group training programs, which are primarily based around fat loss. So people, looking to lose weight, get fit, genuinely people who don't like normal kind of gyms. It's a very particular type of people. Everybody's got kind of similar goals, but that's the main focus. So the group training program that I run.
Fantastic. So like a boot camp type thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a boot camp, but kind of like inside and a little bit more structured. So, still with proper lifting, that kind of thing, whereas a boot camp can be a little bit more, sledgehammer kind of thing, slams. So a bit of a mixture, really.
And when you say you're not like normal gyms, what do you mean specifically like that? Because obviously to a lot of people, a gym is a gym. So it's what makes yours different from traditional?
Mostly just generally the way the programs are run. So instead of it being, like a random class, it's all structured. So, I run sessions Monday to Friday, one session on a Saturday morning as well that you were smashing this morning. And it basically it's built through that frequency with the idea of, they come in, there is structure to the sessions. Everybody knows each other by name. This isn't thousands of people at a gym. It's really, really important to me as well that it is run like this, that everybody wants to be on the sessions. Because I know as well that if someone shows up regularly, naturally as a byproduct, they get results. Whereas gyms, for example, say you sign up for a gym in January, which gyms love to do this. You sign up for a gym, right? Yeah. Let's go. Everyone's motivated in January, new year, new me. You get into a 12-month commitment. Okay. And I think it's about, 75% of people who sign up will drop out within the first month. So when you drop out, they're still paying for the membership for the next 11 months. It's a cheaper membership, as opposed to the kind of programs that I run. But problem is you don't show up and then you're not going to get the results because as well, it is hard. You think if you go to a gym and you don't know what you're doing. For me, I use a gym. I love gyms because I know what I'm doing and I love the environment and I'm happy to work out on my own. But generally the people who come here, if they went into the gym on their own, they just get spooked by the environment. So naturally they don't stick to it.
A few years ago, I lost, and he swore again, that would have been number 3, a lot of weight. I lost loads of weight. I went really skinny. I went from about, I think I was like 17 stone right down to nearly 11, right? So I lost loads and I got lean as well. I was literally in the gym between 3 and 5 days a week. And I just run, I do circuit training, I do all sorts, right? And I loved it. It was like the time of my life. There was a problem with my payments. I think there was a missed payment because of blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it messed up, right? And I really regretted it because I loved it at the time. I've never been able to get back into it. This was years ago, right? Genuinely the best time I ever had at a gym because I knew what I was doing. I knew before I went in exactly what I was going to do and I'd go and do it. I joined a gym here. I won't mention the name of it. It's just changed franchise name in Shrewsbury. But I joined that gym. And it was just, I think the collective term is probably stereotypical, a meathead factory, right? It's just I remember just like walking towards the equipment. Let's go and do some 21s on the 21 curls. I love doing the 21 curls. So, mate,
I love that.
I walked up to it and there's some just guys just staring at me, grunting. I've never seen that in the gym before. I know it happens. I see it all the time, but it's proper alpha male. I'm going to urinate on this and I own it, type behavior. And it really put me off and I never went back.
And it's crazy because as well, like I say this about gyms, that even the type of space I run, I know the kind of, people who love coming here, but because I train, you know, I've trained at gyms for ages, and I love that, and I see that as well, and I know the grunt, and I know this, and a lot just through going for so long, I get to know, you know, those individuals that do grunt. And when you get to know these people, by the way, just like they are the loveliest people. In fact, I'd say most people that go to the gym are more insecure than your standard person. I think that's one of the reasons they're in there. They're trying to better themselves. They're trying to work on themselves, trying to build up their confidence. But as a perception, it's terrifying. So when you go in, you've got mirrors. Like you said, you have got people grunting. You've got meatheads. You've got people lifting massive weights, which is the off-putting part. But underneath all of that, you know, when you actually get to know them, you're like, actually, they're just insecure, or they're lovely people. And in fact, if you walk into the environment and you ask any of them, look, I'm not quite sure on this, or could you give me a spot on the lift, or how come you're squatting this that way, etc. They 9 times out of 10 they do want to help, but like I said, the perception that's terrifying, and a lot of people go into that environment. And then, like you said, if you don't know what you're doing, that's the hardest part. It's like anything in life. When you don't know what you're doing with it, you just have that fear, because you're like, am I doing this right? Do I look stupid? So yeah, but I love gyms, but yeah, I completely get that.
So how long have you been running Endorph Fitness then? And how long have you had that gym?
So I basically came back. I'm originally from Shrewsbury. I always knew I wanted my own space. Again, it's all about creating that type of environment that people feel welcome, that people can get results, that people want to show up to. So I knew I wanted my own space. And just over 2 years ago, I moved back to Shrewsbury. There was actually another trainer in this space. I remember I was in London training clients out of a uni gym. It's the only way I could afford to rent in this place. And I remember thinking, right, do I stay here and continue here, or do I go back to Shrewsbury, where I'm more likely to get that community outside of the big city? So I moved back, but I needed someone to find. I searched and searched and searched, and I ended up finding, you know, kind of subletting out the trainer that was in here. In the room that I'm in now, which is kind of used as the office, the measurement space, this was used, a sports massage guy had this room. So it's kind of 3 or 4 of us using this same space. And within, I think I run a 6-week challenge, you know, one of my first ever ones, Jules. And I remember thinking, you know, I had about 5 or 6 clients, maybe 7 or 8. And the lady who had the space said, right, I'm leaving. This was it within 6 weeks. She was like, I'm leaving, you know, she was leaving the industry. She kind of lost the passion. And I remember thinking, this is it. You know, I really need to commit now. I need to push. I need to do whatever I can to find the people to help in order to be able to take this over, because it's, you know, it's got the space, it's got everything that I need. And yeah, so I had basically 6 weeks. I pushed and I pushed and I pushed, had some sleepless nights over it, and ended up with the space, and then never looked back since. And when I had this space, I mean, it's still not where I want it to be, but it literally was an empty room. I had about 4 kettlebells, an empty room, and you know, just some enthusiasm to help people and get people enjoying themselves. And it's grown since then.
Fantastic.
That is great. It's great to have that business, that drive. You know, you wanted something, so you went out and got it. That's beautiful to see.
And that's been quite a cool theme today, hasn't it, Al? Thinking about it, when you talk to all the guests about, like, you know, their passion for wanting to, like, just grab the bull by the horns and go with it, and with their businesses, and that defining moment that allows it.
Yeah.
So
it's a very Shropshire thing, and we're realizing it more and more as we go along. But certainly today, you're right, it's been definitely a theme. Was this something you always wanted to do, Connor, from as long as you can remember? What did you want?
Pretty much. You know, I'm only 25 now. I've been doing this, been PT since I qualified when I was 18. Originally failed as a PT, by the way. Like, it's not one of those industries. I was talking to someone today who was actually saying he wants to get into this kind of line of work, and it very much is, you get your PT. Probably, I'm sure it's the same in some other industries. And you get this dream, you sold this dream, right? I'm going to do my qualification. I'm going to be self-employed. I'm going to help X amount of clients. It's fitness. It's fun. And then you kind of get your qualification. You kind of on your own. You know, you still got to learn how to connect with people, how to market to people, how to get people on board. But yeah, I remember being in the Shrewsbury Club, and Mickey Brown, who's still a personal trainer there now. And I remember, I wonder if you'll ever watch this. That'd be funny. But I was watching him, and I remember we'd talk all the time, and he was so busy. Like, this guy was just busy. And I remember thinking, wow, you know, I was spending 90 minutes on my lunch break from chefing every day, doing split shifts, 10 till 3, drive to the gym, hit the weights, shower, back to the kitchen, back till 10 p.m. And I do that 5 times a week. And I remember thinking, hold on, is that guy doing this for a living? So fired me up. and then I went away from there, did my PT obviously, but realized it wasn't as easy as that, you know, to get busy and to get clients. And then that took me down a different journey. But yeah, so I've known for a while. And just on the passion thing that you were just speaking about, again, I said to that gentleman this morning when we were talking about it, I said, you wouldn't be able to do the hours. You wouldn't be, the calls, you wouldn't be able to take the rejection if you weren't passionate about it. I don't think so. The early mornings, getting up at 5 a.m. every day, you would not be able to do it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And what was it like at the beginning there? Saying it was hard to get the clients, or it must be a hell of a graft to try and build up a good clientele list. Was that difficult to start off?
Yeah, it was tough. Like the first time, the first time I literally qualified, I remember literally working out of a gym, and you find yourself, you either pay rent, which is expensive, by the way. Like for PTs, like it's quite stacked against you from the start if you haven't got any clients to help. So that was tough. Or you do like 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours on shift, which you just find yourself cleaning treadmills, stuff like that, which generally as well doesn't look great to the future clients' eyes. If they're seeing you clean the machines, doesn't look great, doesn't make you feel great. But generally that's all an excuse, because I could have gone and spoke to people. I could have, interacted more, but I didn't. And I remember then working for a gym, basic hourly rate, found myself doing the same thing again. And all that passion had gone away. I remember thinking, I can't do this. There's nothing in it really. There's no enjoyment. I'm not even doing the training. So I kind of quit. And then I went off to uni for a little bit, which is why I ended up in London. And a friend said to me, look, Con, you quit. You've given up here, And as soon as he said it, it just sparked me up. So I went down this, this kind of rabbit hole of just searching, learning as much as I could over the next 12 months. Okay, how do I get client results? How do I find clients? What do people want? How can I be of value? And I pushed and I pushed and I pushed. And even then, when I started training people, it very much was, the way I got clients in London was I'd run a 4-week program. I remember it was and bear in mind, this is PT. They would do 3 sessions a week, 30-minute sessions, 1-to-1. And it was £40. And that's London, like ridiculous, ridiculous. I mean, most PTs charge more than £40 a session in London. And I would do 12 sessions for the month because I knew what it took to get people results. So you can't get results in one session. I knew you could get them in 4 weeks. I would get people results in those 4 weeks. You wouldn't, everyone wouldn't get results because it depends how much you put into it. But always you would get 3 or 4 people that would say, hey, I love the program. Let me stay on board. And then it grew from there, really. And that's been the concept: over deliver, add value, and be willing to work, and sacrifice in the beginning.
Exactly. And in terms of, like, obviously, I ask this question pretty much of all the guests. It's names. I'm always intrigued about how names come up. And obviously with Endorph, I know that because it's the body types, isn't it? Or body shapes, body types?
No, I know what you're thinking of. And I take that. So Endorph, it comes from endorphins. So endorphins is what, when you do a workout and you feel good.
Yeah.
So that's why I ended up with that. I wanted people to feel good. That's essentially it. For me, the reason I work with fat loss, I've never been big. And I never had an emotional pain to it. There was no tie to it. There was no like, oh, pull me, I'm skinny. Pull me, I need to gain some muscle. I know some people feel like that, but for me, it wasn't. Whereas my sister and other people I knew who were overweight, that emotional pain of trying to get in shape and trying to get back in your clothes, for me, I wanted people to feel good. And that's what it was about. And then the other thing, by the way, is when I was at uni, someone told me they hated the name. I went to a business meeting that it was like a grant. If you got, if you pitched or whatever, and it was good. And I was right in the beginning, I thought, I'm going to go for this. And there was 2 or 3 people in the room and they were like, look, we hate your name. It sucks. We hate your name. They were literally straight to the point. We hate your name. And I remember thinking, now I'm going to make it work with that name. I like the name. Just because you hate the name doesn't mean everybody's going to hate the name. I've never had anyone really other than those actually say. And they also hated the concept as well. They hated the idea of the group training. They hated the idea of the flexible times. So that's, that's obviously not the primary driver, but it all adds wood to the fire, doesn't it? So.
It's you,
yeah, because it makes you determined, doesn't it, to prove them wrong.
It's you. It's your individuality.
Yeah,
that's what you add to it, and that's really important. I would never think of someone going to someone and going, "Oh yeah, your business." Yeah, sounds terrible when I talk. Whenever somebody mentions the business name, makes me want to throw up. Who are rude like that? It's crazy.
I mean, it's crazy because you think about most things. Like I'm sure when Google was called Google, people were like, "Why is that called Google?" or whatever. That's a weird word. It's just, it's fascinating. And I didn't get it either. And I did get, because the guy said the same thing. And I get that as well, that you do think of, there's mesomorph, there's ectomorph. So you do kind of go down that rabbit hole in a sense. So I did understand that bit.
Yeah. And I suppose what's quite interesting, because you say about the programs, and you mentioned earlier, like 30-minute slots. For me, in terms of trying to understand that shift, because traditionally, my other half's from sort of a bodybuilding background, and it would be hours lifting heavy weights.
Yeah.
And now there does seem to be this trend of like 30 minutes. That's all you need, 30 minutes, and you can get the same sort of results, obviously give or take.
Yeah.
But was there a genuine shift in sort of like the understanding of how the body works and sort of nutrition to go that route rather than just flog yourself for hours over weights?
Yeah, a little bit, and just time as well. Everybody's crazy. Again, the people who come here, it's busy. We've all got so much going on, and it takes that almost excuse out of it as well. Because if you've not been working out for ages, it's so easy for someone to say, look, I can't do a 90-minute workout, or I can't do a 60-minute workout. And I'm kind of like, well, can you do 15? Can you do 10 minutes? Because 10 minutes is better than no minutes. And when it comes to the fat loss, really, I'm just trying to get people to burn as much as they can in that 30 minutes as they can, test the muscles. Like I said, if they were definitely in the bodybuilding, they're probably going to need a minimum of 45 minutes, but they wouldn't be in the group probably anyway. Or if you're strength training, again, you need longer rest. And then as you see, I mean, when the gyms reopen up, if you walked into a gym, you'd see it time and time again. We live in a world, everyone's just on their phones, everybody's chatting. I get more done if I've got a stopwatch out. Like I've got this watch recently, and just using the stopwatch. Like I love my stopwatch because it doesn't lie. Like people will lie. People will say, I'm only resting 2 minutes between sets, but if you timed it, it'd be more like 4 or 5 minutes. And then it seems like a little bit, but you think you did that 5 sessions a week, you've lost an hour. You do that over a year, you've lost hours and hours and hours of time. Whereas if you go in with a mindset, which is the same thing at Endorph, I'm like, look, you come in, you've got the accountability. I'm here. So naturally, you want to push that a little bit harder, or you log on a Zoom, you get your half an hour in, you feel great. And then if you still got some more in the tank, but really you can definitely make it hard enough in 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I used to spend a good sort of 15 minutes blasting a bike or a cross trainer or something, and then about half an hour like doing sets. I mean, I used to love it, right? I feel like I'm a skinny guy in a fat man's body. This is how I am, because I know how to train. This is the weirdest thing, right? But I get so frustrated because I did get to a really good sort of weight and sort of, I could blast out 5K easy, no problem, it wouldn't bother me at all. Whereas now I'll put loads of weight on. I want to get back to it because we are in the public eye, and we will be more so as the year goes on, I imagine. And people, there's gonna be pictures of me. We got a new photographers that just joined the team, but at the moment I'm very self-conscious, and there's a lot of people out there, I guess, over lockdown that may have indulged a bit during the times when they couldn't get out. I mean, we did see a lot of people out there running and cycling, but there are people like me that's probably what are you expecting a huge surge of people to come to you for help?
I think so. I think it'll be busy for sure when the gym opens naturally, because I think people that, old clients that either pause their membership during lockdown or just stop coming because look, they don't want to be on Zoom, and I completely understand that, or they just weren't happy with the Zooms or whatever. So I think naturally some of those are going to come back. I've had a few messages already saying, hey, when's the gym opening? When can we get back in? I really, really need your help, because again, everybody's in that kind of same boat. And I think we can kind of take some, reassurance in that. Like everybody's been in that. Well, the majority have been in that boat. I see that as a common theme. We're not moving as much. We've been working from home. It's easier to snack. There's food in the house. It's so easy when you're bored or you're emotional. So naturally, yes, I do see that coming. But yeah, so naturally, I would expect that.
What about you, right? Because obviously, I mean, I think about Taekwondo. My lad does it, right? So Luke is his sensei. He's doing Zoom classes all day, every day. And I think that must be really hard on the body. It must be really, really hard. So what is it like for you when you have to deal with your own personal injuries, illnesses, days when you just can't be bothered? How do you pull yourself through that? Is it tough?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. It sounds crazy because when I, especially in the beginning, I believe it more now. The longer you do something, the more you kind of believe it, the busier you get, etc. The more you go, actually, maybe I can do this. Maybe I'm quite good at this. But I remember at the start, I used to be like really struggle with trying to, get clients to sign up. At the end of the day, there's people out there who need my help. There's people I know who I can help, who it's life-changing. I get the feedback all the time, the testimonials, people checking in. But I remember, like, I'd walk back from the gym, and sometimes, because I'd go over to the gym over here, walk back over, and I think, why would anyone want to pay me, or why would anybody, rely on me to help them with a fitness plan? Because to me, it genuinely is, and it sounds cliche, but it's just second nature. It doesn't matter. I remember yesterday, I was like, yeah, I don't really need to train. I mean, my program that I'm following now is only 4 times a week, but it's super intense. Like, it's the hardest training I've ever done, and I'm loving it, by the way. Absolutely love it. Makes me feel great. I feel fittest, strongest, look the best as a byproduct. But I remember thinking, I don't even need to train, because I could train either Saturday or Sunday. But as a byproduct, just because I'm so used to doing it, it doesn't even matter if I'm motivated anymore. It really doesn't. And when the gym over the road was open, because I go over there because there's showers there, and it's a different environment, again, that's really powerful. But I'd walk across, and it literally didn't matter. Sometimes I'd find myself in the car park and I wouldn't even know how I got there, because it's just a byproduct. It's like driving home, and you've driven home and you don't even know that you've driven home. And you get home, you go, how have I done that? Same thing, exactly the same. So that part, I've never, ever found that as an issue. And in terms of, if I was training all day, I'd hate it, by the way. Like, when I coach the Zoom sessions, Jules will know, and it's the same when I'm in here. I do a lot of steps and a lot of moving around, but I try and demonstrate the exercises, and then I'm staring at the screen and I'm just cheering people on, making sure everybody's safe, because I'm aware, you might have heard of like Les Mills and stuff like that. There's no way that's good for the body. There's no way. If you're a trainer and you're coaching 5 sessions a day, or 4 sessions, or even 3 sessions a day, but you're doing the classes yourself, A, you can't have your eyes on everybody else. It's just impossible. And B, that impact constantly is too much. So I stay away from that. I smash my 4 sessions, and then I demonstrate the exercises, and then I generally coach from that point of view.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. And it is more of a coach, but it's not just obviously the fitness side of it, because you do nutrition as well, don't you?
Yeah. So again, I think the group training program, really, it was built out of the idea that if someone could only pay for 1 personal training session a week, the people who really struggle in the gym environment or struggle to get motivated and accountable, it's near impossible. Like, it's near impossible for that individual to get results. If anyone comes to me and they say, look, I only want to do 1 session a week, I'm probably not going to do anything on my own, I'm going to struggle with the food kind of things, then I push as hard as I can, because I know a lot of people struggle in groups, but I'm like, please, this is the one for you, because you get unlimited access. Most people do at least 3 to 5, of whether it's in the gym or whether it's on Zoom, of the sessions a week. Once you start up in that frequency, amazing things start to happen. You can't do that from 1 time a week. And then obviously, to make sure that they are getting results, the nutrition is important. So I make sure that if the calories need working out, then they get worked out. If they need, to show me a food diary and ask for some advice, then I can give them some advice from that. So I hit it from both ends, because if somebody's goal is fat loss, you can work out, you could do 10 Zoom sessions with me a week. But if too much is coming in and not enough is going out, then you won't gain weight. And then what happens is, you won't lose weight. You'll be fuming, because if you've done 10 sessions in a week and the scales don't budge, you're going to be an angry human being, no matter how good they make you feel, because you've just put 10 shifts in.
But I like the fact that you say fat loss instead of weight loss, because I'm not fussy about that. But I know from experience that when you're training, you're not necessarily going to lose weight; you're going to lose inches. Yeah, and your recovery rate as well will just completely change every week. Every time you're on a bike, every time you run, your breathing will get better. So I love that you say fat loss. That's important, I think.
Yes, so important, because you can get caught up in that, can't you, as well? Like you said, the weight.
Well, I think that's the thing, because particularly as a woman, because I try not even, I mean, obviously, and I say for a woman, and I know it's not true, because I know men feel the same and think the same along these lines as well now, but weight loss obviously was always a woman's sort of mindset of thinking, in terms of, you've got to lose the weight. And for when women started sort of training or doing more, and the weight was going on, it was because obviously that not understanding the concept of muscle is heavier. Yeah. So of course, but what they didn't realize was they're actually leaning up. So yes, it's very useful to weigh on the scales, of course, because it does give you an indication of somewhere where you go, where you're going. But like you say, the measurements. But I tend to always go by clothes. Yeah, how clothes fit. That's and awesome. that and I know that's where your inches come in, obviously, from your measurements, because you take measurements at certain body parts, but obviously your clothes can tell you as well. But if if you've got stretchy clothes, you're not always necessarily going to know because they're designed to go to stretch. That's the whole point of it. So I think, yeah, when you see these like miracle weight loss programs, and people will get disheartened with stuff, they're not fully comprehending that it's about the leaning up or toning or, whatever it is that people need to work around. But even just the nutrition side, isn't it? What goes in?
Yeah, and speaking of nutrition, I'm so glad you said that because I was about to. I can add on that. When it comes to nutrition, what do you think of the Herbalife type meal type things that people can have? A lot of them some of them are good, some of them are bad. But when someone's been almost indoctrinated by this way of life, where you're drinking drinks rather than having meals, what's that like for you to deal with?
Genuinely, so like the extreme ones are just insane. Like there's so many people that I remember training a lady in London, and she said she went. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was a shake diet essentially. It sloshed her down to 600 calories a day. She dropped 7 stone on it. Ridiculous. Yeah, no joke. Like that's why she dropped 7 stone. Hair started falling out. Nails started to bleed, because of that lack of nutrients. And then guess what happens in the end anyway? There's no way you can sustain that. There is just absolutely no way. Like the amount of times I just push on people like, look, do you want temporary or do you want forever? If you want to be consistent with it. And I get it because it's, when you're in a place of pain, this is the emotional pain again. We've all done it when you want to solve a problem. And if you're hurting because you're overweight, and this program's selling you, look, you're going to drop 7 stone, you're going to be buzzing, but it comes back. When it's like that, absolutely, like I hate that kind of thing. It's wrong. It's wrong to take people's money for that kind of thing. The only place that they kind of have their place is, say, for example, you incorporated 1 shake a day into your nutrition. So because when you're trying to obviously drop weight, you're in a deficit. And if your deficit number for some people, say it was only 1,400 or 1,600 calories a day, and if you're struggling to hit that number, or maybe you have a crazy weekend, then yeah, sure, have a 200 or 300 calorie shake instead of a 600 calorie meal, just to try and get your calories back down. So use it just like they're intended, almost like a supplement. When you go to the gym, they say, do you need shakes? I don't take protein shakes, but some people do. No, you don't really need them. But as a supplement, yeah, why not have them into your, if it helps you have more protein, you can do the same thing, but definitely you want your proper meals. And you don't want to be reliant or 100% on shakes. But if, for example, a couple of shakes a week, I know a client, he uses Parisian, which is a local company here. And he's smashing it. Nick's in the group. You'll meet Nick, probably Jules. And he smashes it. Him and his wife just have 1 shake a day for breakfast. And that just sets them up for the day. It's better. There's a lot of protein in it. It's healthy. It's a smoothie. They knock it down quick. It's about 200 or 300 calories. And that keeps him going until lunch. And then he has his lunch, normal meal in the evening, and that helps him keep his calories under control. So I just think, if you fit them in, great. If you're relying on shakes instead of meals, definitely don't do that.
It's like all the fads, isn't it? Because you remember, like, you got the cabbage. Was it the cabbage diet?
It's insane. It's insane.
But I suppose, people, that's about the whole marketing, isn't it? And it's, chucking up all these pictures of people that people sort of, they've probably not been on the cabbage diet, whatever it was called, and got to that. They were probably just doing something else, or it's been photoshopped, that sort of thing. So, but in terms of if somebody wanted to do, I don't know, like, I suppose, what's the difference overweight versus, say, like somebody just says, no, I just need to run. I just want to do it all running, in terms of what's the results? How do the results differ from somebody that would do weights versus somebody that just does running?
That's a good question. So generally running, obviously, it's going to be really good for cardio, but you'll still get that, by the way. If anything that raises your heart rate, I always say this. I'm like, if you raise your heart rate, if you're doing deadlifts in the gym, like you probably know this, Alex, like if your heart rate's going, that's cardio, like definitely anything that raises your heart rate. Running is great because if you do 20, 30-minute run, 40-minute run, you're going to burn a lot of calories over a short period of time. There's a lot of movement going on. It knackers the body. You sweat a lot. You're burning a lot of calories. Problem is when you stop running, you stop burning those calories. Whereas weights, you get some muscle on your body. It's a game changer. This is why I would definitely push, especially later into life. Because if you think naturally, women, men, doesn't matter. Us as human beings, as we get older and older and older, we naturally will lose muscle mass. But is that because A, we stopped lifting weights. You know, when we're at school, we do PE. We're part of, you know, sports clubs a little bit into the 20s. And then we just stopped moving in general. So running's great for burning calories in the moment. Whereas weights, you want to put that muscle on your body. Muscle is more metabolically active, you know, so it sits on your body. You're going to generally, you'll be able to raise your metabolism a little bit as well because you've got more muscle on your body. It shapes your body as well. You're not going to get that with running. You might get a little bit of muscle tone, but generally you'll drop a lot of fat. I've got a client that's lost 90 pounds, Ryan in the group, huge amount of weight. He lost it before through things like running and just the food side of things. If you speak to him in the group, he'll say his complete body shape is completely different. So he's the same weight now because he's lost 90 pounds in the past. Then he put it on. Then he's lost it since being at Endorph. But now he does a lot of weights. He does a lot of the Zoom sessions, does a lot of biking, does a mix. He still does his running, but his body shape is completely different. And he said his body shape now versus last time is way, way, way better. So definitely, if you're not lifting weights, start lifting weights.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone like me who hasn't been to a gym in 12 months, probably more than that, actually, that hasn't got the motivation? Not just the motivation, but the confidence to go and train. What would you say to someone?
I'd say just start small. I'd say just do it. I would honestly say don't even rely on motivation. I would just set up your environment. I would make it as hard as possible not to do it. I'd book a session with a PT, or I would just make it so hard. I would get so much almost like someone's counting on you to be there. Because it's so easy, like you said, it's so easy. At one night, you're pumped up. I'm going to do it this week. It's Sunday night. I can't wait. I'm doing it this week. I'm finally achieving my goals. And then you wake up, you're knackered the next day, or something else happens. And we all know that there is no perfect time. But if you can just start small, if you can literally just say, okay, well, I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself. I'm just going to go into the gym and I'm just going to do 10 minutes today. I always say this, that you're just going to do 10 minutes. By the time you've gone into the gym, or maybe because we're not in gyms, you're going out for a little run and you say you're going to do, a 5-minute run. By the time you start moving, things start changing. You start sweating, adrenaline starts pumping. You start thinking, well, I'm out here right now. I may as well keep going a little bit further. May as well do a few more squats, a few more push-ups, whatever it is that you're doing. So do that, but make it really hard to actually not do it and make it really easy to do it. So actually have your workout gear washed, ready, have it visible, have your laces undone. You want to literally create as much friction as in not doing it and make it as easy as possible to do it. It's hard right now because everybody's at home. The gyms are shut. But if you can make your life as easy as possible and just take that first step, motivation will find you anyway as you increase that momentum.
See, that's interesting. Now you've said it that way, because my goal this week, my first week, was to do 3 Zoom sessions, and I've done 4. But that's because obviously I'd got to the point of thinking, obviously after the first day when I tried to walk down the stairs and it was like, oh my God, I can just about get down the stairs sideways. And then, but obviously that, luckily for me, I walk all day, so I'm able to keep them moving a bit. So I didn't seize up fully.
Yeah.
But by the time I got to last night, it was like, actually, I feel all right now. I'm going to do another one tomorrow morning. Apart from obviously I'd got the times wrong and got myself up silly early when I didn't need to. But yeah, so I felt quite comfortable to do that 4th one because I did feel really good. So I'd got that, the buzzing. It wasn't like, oh God, that's going to be a chore to try and force myself to do it.
Yeah.
But I'm also realistic in terms of, but it might not be the same next week.
Yeah.
I don't want to go backwards, but I'd rather stay on trend and go up than backwards.
Yeah.
But, obviously life doesn't always, or things happen, don't they, I guess.
And I think it's why it's just that, it's just showing up more than not. And I always say in the first week, it was like someone who comes in, I've seen it. I mean, Adele in the group said how sore she was. You can come into something and you can go at it too hard, especially if you haven't exercised in a while. If you go in and you're like jacked up that first week and you smash out 5 or 6 sessions, but you're so physically sore now for the next week that you can't even do 0, all that momentum is gone. Like you're better off doing 3 or 4 sessions every single week and easing yourself into them as well so you're not too sore, and then hitting it consistently over time. Like that is, I know it's cliche, but consistency, it works. Like, and you want to enjoy your sessions. You don't want to be sore all the time. Most people don't want to be sore all the time. And if they are, they end up just quitting. They're like, I hate this feeling. I hate being sore all the time. So I'm not going to do that anymore. And then they cut back. And the last thing, I often say, I think 1 session a week is harder than 3, 4, or 5 because there's no momentum with 1 a week. And like, by the time you get around to the one again, if you're not getting results each and every week, or at least most weeks, you know, you're winning more than you're losing in life, then why are you going to be motivated? How could you possibly be motivated? I guarantee, like, Alex, if you have a big week next week, and if you lose 5 pounds, I promise you are going to be pumped. You're going to be jacked up. I've lost 5 pounds. I'm feeling great. My heart rate's coming down. And motivation, you'll naturally, just because you're winning. It's those weeks, I think, where you kind of like, oh man, I didn't lose anything again, and I did 5 sessions again, and then you do it again and again and again. And if we lose enough, we tend to quit.
Yeah, that's what I did. I mean, I was on keto for a while, which I really enjoyed, by the way. I'm not a diet guy. I don't do diets. I did Herbalife for a bit, lost a lot of weight, realized, like you said, whatever I'd lost will come back. But keto for me was just like a new way of life, and I felt so much energy. And I can see now that I wasn't training at the time. I was doing an awful lot, to be honest. But I can see now that I could train off keto. I could definitely do that, because you speak to people about being in keto that you know, I've barely eaten anything, but there's so much energy. I was so hyper all the time when I was on it. Awesome. So I need to get back to it, and it will get there. It will. I promise. I need someone to drag me by my pinky toes and just be like, come in with me, Whiteley. So yeah, maybe do you do like taster sessions just to see?
Yeah, you should just jump on a Zoom anyway. Like, just give me a message. I'll send you a Zoom link.
Yeah. When it comes to like the Zoom sessions, are they one-on-one, or are you with loads of other people? Can other people see you?
Yeah. So at the moment, it's the majority, obviously, unless it's a Zoom PT. If it's in the group program, it is very much a group of like-minded people. So yeah, it's enjoyable.
But to be honest, it is a group of people. You do have all these other pictures up on your Zoom screen, but I've found I'm not really looking at anybody else. I'm watching you, first of all, for the demonstration, and then you're so busy just doing it that you're just doing it. You know, I don't sit there and watch everybody else or study everybody else. It is just, how do I do it? Now let's just do it. So,
and it's funny, isn't it? Because everyone's thinking that's the exact same thing. When you hit group, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm on screen with other people. They're going to be looking at me. And it's fun because every single person's got that story going on. Everybody. And then once you actually do the Zoom, you realize, hold on, everybody's worried, and all everybody's doing is looking at me or looking at, focusing on their own form. So it's fascinating.
I'd find it difficult because I'm in an apartment. Because downstairs will be hearing me like jogging on the spot. They'll be like, what the bloody hell is he doing? They probably already hear that with Timmy when he's doing his taekwondo.
Double trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. But we'll definitely, I do want to, I want to look for some way of becoming a bit more visually acceptable. I think there's a fine line, isn't there, between being healthy and fit and having a serious body image problem, because there are, like you said, there are a lot of people at the gym doing things like this that are completely insecure about their body image. So you've got to find that sort of center line.
Oh, it's funny. Like I've seen people, like, spoke to people in the gym. I remember walking up to a gentleman and in crazy shape, could even question steroid shape, crazy shape. And I remember walking up to him and complimenting him because he had a really muscular back, and I was watching him do some shrugs in the squat rack, and I thought, bloody hell, he's got a really strong back. And I walked up to him and I just said, hey, hey, bud, just wanted to say, really strong back. Good job on that. And I think he was on steroids. So I think that he almost knew. You still need to work hard on steroids, but obviously he had a little help. And I think he knew. He couldn't even look me in the eye to say thank you. He was like stuttering his words. He was really nervous. And again, it comes down to that body image. Yeah. And like you said, it's that fine line, because you still, you should still love the way, like, this is the thing that gets me. People who come and say you're 5 stone overweight, or what you think is 5 stone overweight, 6 stone, 7 stone. Just if I say anything to anyone, like, try and be happy in the meantime. Like, why do you need to wait till you're 5 stone less to be happy? That makes me so sad, because it's we're all chasing that, and we all do this. I do this in business. Oh, when I get to X amount of clients, when I do this, X, and it breaks my heart, because let's be honest, if you've got 5 stone to lose, that's going to take you, say, anywhere to 12 months, maybe a little bit more. Why should you be in misery? Because you've got some excess body fat. Like, try and be happy. Try and, love yourself. Try and just encourage yourself along the way. We can all still work for something more. We can still want to be better. We can still want to drop those extra pounds and get back in that dress or whatever. But please try and love yourself in the meantime, because we're all worth the same. Like, regardless to image, we're all the same.
Amazing. Where are you actually at the moment? In Shrewsbury, are you?
Do you know where the big Tesco's is?
Oh yeah, Sunderland.
So literally just opposite there, there's a big rent space building there near the featherbed and in the top of that.
You know where the climbing wall? You know where the climbing walls are at?
That's it, near the climbing wall, same building.
Just above, sort of along and above up there.
Rent space. I think we were just chatting to Ben Coates, who's done some stuff for Rent Space, I believe. I don't know, but yeah, amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on, sorry.
Connor, tell people. That's right. Dogs are allowed on the Biscuit. We know that. Connor, tell people how they can get in touch with you if they want to book on with you.
The best thing to do is just search Endorph Fitness right now on Facebook. I'm getting a website done, but it's going to take at least a month to be built out. So yeah, just search Endorph Fitness on Facebook, and then that's the best place, because if you're looking for any tips, any content, I'm frequently going live on there. So I'd head over to that.
Have you thought of doing some sort of YouTube tuitions and stuff, or do you think that's like giving away the product for free?
No, because as well, like I'll just be honest, like most of the stuff I speak about in my live is exactly what I would say to a client. Like, and it's fascinating, isn't it? They're kind of giving it away for free. The biggest difference between it's just using the information. It's very rare. I'm constantly, if I get an idea, I'll jump on a Facebook Live and I'll just say it. Because what people really need is accountability. But it's that pay to play. I know it sounds silly, but it is. When you've got skin in the game, it creates urgency. It creates that motivation. That's why I say that. Every time I've invested in anything to do with my business, if I put enough skin in the game, I work harder. I make it happen. I'll get the return because I've got the motivation, because I'm kind of like, oh crap, I spent money on this. I need to do this. So I think when I give out all that information, it's the same thing, really. Most people need accountability. They need to be booked on. They need somewhere to go to. They need someone to say, hey, why weren't you at Monday's session? So no, it's all on there anyway. So if you look for tips and you're an action taker, just go on there. It's on there for free. You've got to be an action taker. But if you're not, then that's when it's worth, hiring, joining the group or having a PT.
Nice. Good. I've really enjoyed chatting to you, Connor. I think you're very, very motivational and inspiring as well. That story at the beginning where you wanted something and you went and you darn well got it.
No, I appreciate it, Alex and Jules. And I think, by the way, like if you want something, like you should go get it. Like everybody can do it. Yeah, everybody can do it if you want it.
You can.
Yeah, exactly.
And you say you're looking for a website. Well, we've got a website too, Connor. We've got.
No, I said I bought. Well, just literally yesterday, someone's building one out. Otherwise, I'd been right on you.
Wow. I'll tell you all about our website. It's called the Shrewsbury Biscuit. Oh, by the way, Jules, I got to say, I went to Shane. I was like, Shane, what's our website on the last one? And he was like, and he started reading behind me. I was like, and I let him read the whole thing out. And I was like, Shane, that's our email address. Just died on the show. It's fantastic. But our website is the Shrewsbury Biscuit Podcast.
Just before you go, I know it's you asking me questions, but when did you start the podcast, you two, and why did you start it? I'm just curious.
Oh, it's an interesting one.
To our legs, it's ours, baby.
Well, I mean, I've been podcasting.
Let's hear it.
I've been podcasting for a while now. I mean, podcasts helped me an awful lot with my mental health. I work on my own, and silence is louder than anything else in the world, right? When you're working on your own. So someone was like, throw on a podcast. I started listening to Kevin Smith's podcast. He was in, I don't know if you know Jay and Silent Bob. He does podcasts. He's like one of the pioneers. I listened to him and enjoyed it. I wanted to give something back. I wanted to say thank you. So I started doing this myself with my co-host, Jimmy. We made our own show and it was really, really good. And I moved to Shrewsbury. I wanted to replicate that, but in a nice way, to say sort of thank you, Shrewsbury, for letting me fall in love with you and giving me inspiration, because I moved here, fell in love with it. And it got too big and too busy and I needed help. So I reached out to Shane, to Jules and to Dee Dee. And this last year, again, things have just gone, they've exploded even more. So then we've reached out to we've got 2 new photographers joining the team so we can get some pictures. We've got the website now. We've got so much going for us. And awesome. that is because I wanted it. It's the same as you, right? I wanted this, so I made it. And it's one of those things where, yeah, you could fork out loads and loads of money and make it whatever. There's so many people out there that make podcasts for huge corporate podcasts, spend a lot of money on there. But I want to leave the image of, if I can do it, you bloody well can too. Go and do it. Go and make a podcast.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's about, I didn't even know, I met Al and Shane through working at the prison, because we do the immersive acting and that. And it was Al sort of like just said to me, we need another person on the team. How do you fancy it? And at that point, I just said to you, Al, I said, I don't even know what a podcast is. I've got no idea what one is. And obviously best described for me as like catch-up radio rather than catch-up TV type of thing. But obviously having now done it for like, year and a half? I can't even remember how long it is now.
It's over a year.
Yeah, well over a year. So it was like, actually, I do get the whole concept of now of what this is. And it's a chat show. It's not like, it's not music and it's not news. It's specifically for the Biscuit, it's about Shrewsbury and the people in it, be them famous, Charlie Adler's, the old Walking Dead illustrator, famous people, or just be a local business or somebody that just wants to come on and chat.
The last person we spoke to, Amy Hughes, started making cakes. People liked them, so she made her own little business. That's the kind of people we want to speak to, and it's got to a position now where we've turned a podcast into a proper business. If we're a CIC, we're just at the beginning of this. We're looking for sponsors and things because the world's going to open up soon. So we need businesses to we'll make adverts and stuff just to show people what they do, and that's just to keep the show sustainable, because I don't want to pay for marketing. I want PR. I want nicer microphones, and I want this, that, and the other, because I think then more people will listen, and then we can promote the town a bit more.
Yeah, no, I think, and you're both doing a great job, by the way. Very good job. Like you can see,
a complete team effort. Everybody's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Team. I'm sure there's, like you said, people behind the scenes, and it's just having a chat, isn't it? Essentially, that's what you're doing. And if it inspires, it's going to inspire people, and people are going to say, "Whoa, I tuned into that and I got a nugget from that," or whatever. So it's amazing.
Yeah. Have you thought about doing something like this yourself, Connor?
I have thought about it. I think I love all stuff like that. I listen to a lot of podcasts anyway. I watch loads of stuff on YouTube, like, really successful people that have the big studios and all that. And I've always loved that. I love self-development, outside of the fitness industry. I just love, to be honest, I love anybody that's successful, anybody that takes an idea, anybody that's working hard. So I take inspiration from all of that. But genuinely, it's funny because you're like, right, I'll do that podcast. But then you're trying to do 50 million things at once. So it'll kind of be, I suppose, a time and a place where, make sure my clients are looked after, kind of systemize the programs that little bit better. Make sure that it is running. Maybe take, like you said, I want to really take someone on as well to help out with some of the training sessions. And then I'll free up some time to then maybe look at stuff like that.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I mean, there are so many amazing success stories when it comes to podcasts. I always think about Mark Maron for some reason. I don't know. Mark Maron from back in the day was a very good OG sort of stand-up comedian, failed actor, I guess you could say. He's been in a few things, but he started doing a podcast. WTF? I know he swore then. Mark Maron, and he has this very matter-of-fact way of thinking about things, and his show became huge. It's one of the biggest in the world, and it was growing that quickly. He ended up interviewing Barack Obama from his garage. I swear to God!
Wow!
Yeah, it's amazing, Mark Maron. But anyway, we better get out of here because I'm going to have something to eat and a rest. I'm going to have a lie down, to be honest. I've got another podcast tonight, Jules.
I was going to say you're doing the You Suck tonight.
Doing You Suck. Speaking to the director of Wrong Turn, a horror.
That's awesome.
Very horror. Connor, you've been amazing. Guys, check out our website. I'll tell you the address now. We got sidetracked a bit there.
Yeah, I'll tell people about it as well, by the way. I will tell people.
Yeah. It's the shrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk, and that's made for us by our friends at Web Orchard. If you do need I keep doing this wrong. It's the mirror thing. If you do need a website, go to Web Orchard and they will make you a beautiful looking website because ours is good. I'm running out of words now, Jules.
It's been a long day for you, 7 hours.
It's been a day where
Saturday, well done, team. Saturday, well done.
We're back to it tomorrow with the VMS.
I love
Well,
that.
Yeah,
it's
of
only an
course you're
hour,
doing
though.
that in your year.
That's only an hour. And Connor, Jules, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for your time, Alex and Jules.
And we will catch you guys next time. That's the OSS out. Until next month, guys. We'll catch you next time. Peace out.